down?
I don't know. I've never done this.
Without Brian?
Going live. Okay.
We've done it before without Brian. We don't need Brian here.
All right. Well, are we live or are we Memorex?
Looks like we're live.
No. Edit, promote.
Yeah, am I getting any notifications on Facebook that we're live?
You're not?
No. It usually tells me right away.
Right, normally I get a notification.
Right. And then I'll pop in for a few minutes.
Oh, I like it.
And then I'm out.
Well, how do I go to... Sorry, folks, we're having a little technical difficulties. It's pretty normal for us.
Every time?
Every time.
It's not even
Page.
showing up.
Good girl. Page. Where do you get create a post? I don't know why it doesn't. No, I don't want to boost. I want to go live. Create a post. That's.
Maybe create live.
Oh, there you go.
Bro.
Hey,
Yeah.
I was in the Air Force. I don't do technical.
How do we do the Instagram thing now too?
I don't know. You're asking way too many questions above my pay grade. Waiting for video. Should take a minute.
Okay, we got video.
Still nothing?
Still not getting a notification, bro.
I'm gonna take a nap while you guys figure it out.
Enter broadcast studio. We're getting next call, Brian.
No. All right. Here we go.
There we go.
You are live.
And 3.
All right.
All right. No
It
video.
says live. What
Says we're live. There's no
says
video.
we're live, but there's no video. Add to stream. Oh my gosh.
There we
Here
are.
we are. Welcome to Coffee and Bullshit. It's episode 21.
Live up on Instagram.
Okay, well, yeah, Instagram. All right. So today we have Mike
Yep, that's me.
from Charlie Mike
Beef
and
jerky.
beef jerky and speakers, and turn your volume down, man. This is professional.
I'm trying to.
This is
how
a
do I work
professional studio.
I'm not sure if the 3 viewers on Instagram heard him back. This is a professional organization.
This is. So, what else do we have going on? All right, and then as a special guest host, I got Matt, begins with an M.
Yeah, we're all the same.
Yeah.
Mike, Matt, pretty common.
Mike, Matt, Sal, that's all the same name.
Yeah.
Get my coffee here. So,
Alright, I'm sharing it.
you're sharing it?
Yeah.
He's still learning how to share stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a marketing genius. Yeah.
But, he's got his beef jerky. That
Which is some damn good beef jerky.
I don't know.
If you've never had it.
Can you see it? It's got the other one here.
Yeah, I have 3 flavors: original, teriyaki, and black pepper.
The black pepper is the bomb.
I like the regular. Black pepper is good, but I like
Black
the regular.
pepper's really
Yeah.
good. So if you've never had it, try it.
I like the original. You know, you can always order from charliemike.com.
That is correct. I just
Alright.
built a new website. It's www.charliemikes.com. And at the conclusion of this podcast, there will also be a discount code offered
Ooh.
for 10% off
Let me see, I wanna
until
look
the
at
1st of January.
We're up close and personal now.
Yeah, we are. I like this camera a little bit better. It's a little bit closer.
We got nine viewers.
Hey,
We're
that's
reaching,
9 more than we had yesterday.
we're reaching the pockets.
I like how it has the
Speak and spell.
speak and spell, yeah. Whatever that's called.
That's for our hearing impaired people, or just want to put us on mute and don't want other people to hear what we're saying.
Right.
Speak what we're saying.
Let's see if I can link it to my
Whenever you said speak and spell, I immediately
Speak and
thought-
spell, dude. That's the greatest thing. But when you try to do it on your phone,
Right.
and the words come out all babbled, and you're like, and you send it because you didn't look at it. It's
Right.
like, I see a moose pooping in the street. What? I didn't really say that, and somebody knows what I'm talking about.
I immediately thought of hooked on phonics as soon as you said speak and spell.
Hey, you probably do need that hooked on phonics. There's hooked on phonics. There's hooked on crack. I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
So, Micah, you want to tell us a little something about you?
Yeah, so I served in the Army from 2007 to 2011. I was at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I did 7.5 months in Iraq, and then I got air medevac. It was a blast. That's what I always tell people. It's my witty humor.
Was it in a vehicle or was it?
Yeah, and on conclusion of my military service, like I bounced around job to job, and I was pretty lost coming out of that transition. Like just going from having guys around you 24/7 to being on your own was pretty rough. And I thought it was awesome at first. I was like, yeah, I can go fishing every day, and I don't have to have any kind of like accountability where you know, I have to show up to these certain things, and I can only go so far away from post and all that kind of stuff. And then when I got out and I lost all that structure, then everything else kind of fell apart.
What was your MOS?
I was 21 Echo, which is a heavy equipment operator.
Okay.
So
Engineers.
Yeah. So we did all kinds of stuff. We didn't really do anything in Garrison, but because everything's subcontracted out to code and all OSHA and all that kind of stuff. And when we deployed, we didn't have any codes or spilling hydraulic fluid all over Iraq and not even caring. So
We do not do that.
Yes, we don't. We are very caring.
We are very
Company.
EPA friendly. in
Yes.
Iraq.
What did Matt? What did you do?
I was on the 621 field radio operator.
Field radio. Okay.
So, yeah, in the Marine Corps. Loved every minute of it. Went to
Yeah.
Iraq. Did nothing over there. Spent 8 years in the Corps.
Yeah.
Got medically discharged, and here we are.
Yeah.
Living the dream one day at a time.
Yeah. And if you don't know, he does work for your local post office.
Not your local.
Well, no, not yours out there, but
if anybody wants to cuss him out,
Hey, you
have
can
at it.
cuss me out all you want. I'm just in charge of making sure the trucks that frequently break down keep delivering your stuff. That's all I'm here for.
So, what'd you do? I mean, besides after you got out of the Army,
Uh-oh.
it says closed.
Anyway,
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're
They
good.
want to win.
You said you bounced around from. Like,
yeah, so when I got out, I wanted to fish and like screw off and all that kind of stuff. So like for the first like month, all I did was kayak down a river every day with a handle of whiskey and a barbecue sandwich, and it was awesome.
Sounds amazing. Sounds
But
amazing.
one of my civilian buddies that I hunted and fished with, he sold fuel, and there was some like out of town construction company that came in and they were building a landfill, and he's like, oh, they're hurting for operators. So I went from like kayaking down a river every day, just relaxing in the sun, to working 712s for like 5 months, and it was miserable because we were so understaffed as a construction company because they couldn't find anybody to work. So I was running like 3 different pieces of equipment. So like get in the excavator on like a dirt mound and load a off-road dump truck, and then jump out of the excavator and get in the off-road dump truck and go and dump the load. And then sometimes I would have to get in a bulldozer and spread the stuff that I just dumped. And it was just chaos. And I worked for them for like, we were only supposed to have like a 3-month job. And our foreman, like, he like slept in his truck every day. And the job got all screwed up because we were supposed to only spread like 18 inches of sand over the liner for the landfill. And like we ordered like, I don't know, like 60,000 tons of sand in. And then like that 60,000 tons turned into like 100,000 tons. So like the owner of the company drove down to where we were at, and they started testing the like depths of the sand on top of the liner, and like in spots it was like 4 feet deep.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Oh.
So I ended up leaving before the job got completed because I was like, well, I want to go back to
Sitting in a kayak,
drinking a handle of bourbon, and like living my life.
Right. Don't blame me one bit.
Yeah, and then after that, I decided to move back to Illinois because that's where I kind of grew up. And then it was just bouncing around job to job. I was doing all these different jobs, and I felt like no fulfillment in working, which is like a huge issue for us. Because
I feel that every day, bro.
it's like, why am I going to this job and making this money? Like, this is the American dream or whatever, and it's like, I'm not doing anything that's like positive. Like before, I was part of a bigger mission than myself, and now I'm just a person in society
trying to make your way through by yourself,
day by day, dollar by dollar, and like no structure, nothing.
And then like, so I was still using alcohol to cope with a lot of the things that I experienced, and like, I didn't have any idea. Like, you would go to like the VA and see a psychiatrist, and like, you would like tell whatever happened, and then like they'd be like, all right, you have like anxiety and PTSD and like all this shit, and they like give all these taglines from this book, you know, and you're like, okay, cool, like I have those things. What does that mean? You're giving me all these fancy definitions for stuff.
To take this pill,
and you're not giving me any relatable like stories because you don't even know. Like, a lot of those doctors have no, you know, a lot of them just went to school and they have no experience in the military. So it's like trying to relate these big ass definitions to like the things that I feel. So I was like, whatever, okay, cool. And then I would just go back and I would just keep coping with alcohol. And that was super destructive. Because when you drink in the military, there's like not a lot of consequences because you're all with your buddies. And then when you get out and you don't have that kind of support system and you drink on the outside world, and like I was getting in bar fights and just, it was a very reckless time of my life. And I didn't even care. I was like, oh man, maybe this guy's gonna like actually do something to me. But I always somehow came out above and not in fancy bracelets. And then when I started getting the consequences that showing up with like going to jail and stuff, then I was like, oh shit. And it took me like a decade to finally realize like alcohol is not, it's so pushed in our society as like a celebratory thing. And like if you're successful, you know, drink a Bud Light or whatever. And I was taking it to the exact extreme where it was like every weekend I was just, and everything that I was doing in my life surrounded alcohol. So I would like go to work and I didn't feel fulfilled, and then I would go home and drink like a 30 pack. And then I wake up and do it all over again. And that just takes an extreme toll on the body and the mind. And when you're already struggling with depression, adding alcohol as a depressant in there.
So what changed your life?
In 2013, I got a pretty bad DUI. I was actually going to kill myself. And I was driving out to the farm to do it. And I got pulled over on the ride down there. And like, I really have no recollection of the drive. I was in pretty bad state. I probably already had like 25 beers before I got behind the wheel. And I was in that pretty rough state where I was like, well, I don't care. I hope I hit a tree on the way down there kind of thing. So I got pulled over, and I told the cop to just put a bullet in my head because I was like at my wit's end with living after the military. Mm-hmm. So I got a DUI and I went to jail, and I went through that whole horrible experience of like, I was already at my wit's end, and now I have to like deal with all these consequences and show up to all this bullshit that I put myself in that situation. In the first
court
place.
System, paying the money, the lawyer.
Yeah, and I didn't even care about the money or anything like that, but I was just like, man, like, how does this happen to me? Why can't I just like hit a fucking viaduct or something?
So what changed your view? What changed your life in that time span? I mean, did you just said you got cleaned up and being put in jail, or you just kind of found found religion, or you found money?
I didn't find religion. I still haven't found religion. I've kind of dove into that understanding of the religion, but after you go through a pretty like rough experiences, it's kind of hard to pray to somebody. I don't know. It's just in that regard, I like, I've seen the best and the worst of man in the same situations. So It's like, it's hard to pray to somebody that's like up in the sky and be like, oh, well, why, you know, there's a lot of blame there where you're like, why would you put me through such horrendous situations? But, what basically, I don't know, I went to the VA for like a really long time and went through a lot of treatment, and I've tried like everything over the last decade that my counselor through the vet center has told me to do. Well, I have like a 3-year delay. She'll tell me to do something. I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. And then I avoid it for like 3 years. And then something happens, and then I'm like, all right, well, let's try this, you know?
Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, maybe it's a good time to do that. And it was like, I really struggle with like putting myself first in a lot of situations. So like, I would be like, well, I don't have time for that. I need to make money, or I would come up with all these excuses. So I went into a bunch of treatment. And I guess the experience is different for everyone. But when I went through the VA system, like Hines and Captain James A. Level, I don't know. I feel like that it might be better now, but that was supposed to be the best treatment program for post-traumatic stress disorder and depression and all that kind of shit. And I think 4 guys out of my class committed suicide like 6 months after we got out of that program. So it was an experience. It was good to be in that experience and be around guys that were like kind of, you know,
In the same place.
relatable, and to kind of go back to that where you're like, you know, with a bunch of guys that are busting each other's balls and
But did they
going
put,
through some
did they
sort
put
of
you at
struggle.
TBI?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I found out I had a TBI at Captain James A. Level, so that was probably a good thing to go up there because they do like a full brain scan, and they're like, "Do you realize that you have like a traumatic brain injury?" I'm like, "I don't know. I guess I do. You know,
If you tell me so, that must be
I
right.
smashed my head pretty hard a couple times, you know." And they're like, yeah, you got a like pretty good TBI there. They're like, "How many concussions have you had?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's not
Few.
something I count, you know."
Right.
Yeah. So you go through that whole questionnaire, but so that was an interesting find because when you come back from post-deployment, you don't.
You don't get
No,
any
you
of
don't
that
get
stuff.
Yeah, they don't ask.
And it's in military medicine, let's face it, is just get them back in the fight.
Oh, and it's
Patch
that,
them-
and
patch
then
them
it's
up,
like
get 'em back in the fight, get them going.
it's like you don't want to be truthful on any of those things because you don't want to be taken off a line platoon and get put
Right.
in, you know, admin.
Headquarters.
Yeah. Who wants to get stuck in admin when you know you go out on missions and it's cool and
You get to leave and see something different, see different things.
yeah, and actually do what you're supposed
Yeah.
to do. If you're sitting on the fob all the time,
Yeah.
that's
That
gotta
was-
be
that was
horrendous.
So,
Yeah.
But after that, I don't know. I don't know. I just started following a bunch. I was looking at like any way to do treatment that wasn't the VA because all my VA experiences outside of the vet center have been like, oh, let's put you on a combat cocktail. So for like a long time, I was taking like 12 prescription medications through the VA, and I just couldn't handle that because I don't think they understand what they put you on. They're just like, oh, here's the fix-all. Just put you on medication to like stabilize you. And I was on like 6 different medications that lowered my blood pressure, and I'm already a pretty healthy guy. So like, I went from basically like walking around and talking and running and doing all these things to like in a wheelchair because I was on so much medication that I couldn't like stand up because every time I stood up, I just fainted.
No, because,
Yeah, so it was like, so I had to get in a physical altercation to get my doctor to take me off medication because that's like how dead set he was. But throughout, like, I don't know, I like to read and all kinds of things, and I found a book probably somewhere in like 2015 or 2016 called On Assimilation, and it's by a ranger medic called Leo Jenkins, and that book really helped me out because it was like I was in this foxhole and I couldn't get out of it or whatever. I was in this tunnel, and like people would give me advice, and I'd be like, oh, you know, I would find like the difference. I would never find the similarity in the advice, so I would just completely disregard it. And then when I read that book, I was like, holy shit, you know, some of this shit finally makes sense, all these big-ass words. Because it's like, oh, I could drive down the road and, like, I'm at a heightened sense of awareness. And then when somebody, like, cuts into my lane, I want to run them off the road and do all kinds of terrible things. And it's like, I have to reaffirm that I'm back in the United States and this person is just probably having a bad day. I still tend to yell at them, but...
do you tend to yell at people with masks on when they drive?
I do every
I
time.
do.
Especially whenever they're by themselves in their own car with
What
their
are you
mask
doing?
on.
Now I don't
Listen.
even I just let it go. I
Let
think
it go.
that's a big thing. It's like me yelling through my window isn't doing anything.
I don't know. I've got a good commute to work every day. I got 45-minute drive. I hit the highway.
And then after reading that book, I just started networking. So I started I don't really know all the steps that I took, but I would go on Instagram or Facebook and I would find these writers and they would write about their experiences, whether it be combat or anything with the brain, because I'm a big guy where I want to understand what the fuck is going on and I want to find some understanding, and then with understanding there should be a plan of action where I can go down a road and be oh, okay, this is what I need to do, or this is what works for this person or something, and try outside of the VA's craziness to try and find some relief, because there was a while there where my sleep would get all screwed up because I'd have such bad suicidal ideations that instead of being awake, I would just go to sleep, because that was the only way that I could find relief from what was going on, the internal turmoil of all the shit that was going on. So it was I would just take a nap at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, which was terrible if you had a job.
Right. It tends to interfere with things.
So I went from a hungover alcoholic to work to a guy that just falls asleep randomly in the truck all the time.
So all that stuff brought you back to starting your own jerky company, starting to dabble in your own business.
Well, I found a charity through the networking and finding the Havoc Journal. The Havoc Journal is really good with the things that they put out, because there's a lot of veteran authors that they share stories of whatever, what they're doing now, and I think that was a big thing, is I needed some sort of mentor to fucking follow,
Structure.
to basically see all right, well, this guy went through all this hell and shit through his service, so now this is what he does to combat some of the shit that goes on. Because I think when something like that happens, is we're first, or at least in my instance, I was first to blame myself, where I was just all right, well, I could have done more. And I think that's a really good sentiment, is that we get in these situations and then we always feel there was something more we could do, even though the whole situation is just completely out of your control. It's fucking chaos when shit hits the fan.
Mm-hmm.
So it was I was out, and then I was had all this guilt, and then I was just riding myself oh, you're not good enough, and blah 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 blah. And there was a lot of self-hatred happening, and I didn't really take it out on anyone else but myself all the time. So I found these charities, I found these other people that were successful, and then starting the beef jerky company was very impulsive. I mean, a lot of my decision making
Seems like
in my business is just super impulsive. There's no moderation. It's just all right, I'm a big trial and error guy, so I got the DUI, and I didn't want to go get my license back right away, because I knew I was still in a terrible place. And I was still drinking, even though I had already had consequences. And I was well, now I can just be the designated drunk, and I don't have to drive ever. I'll just make everybody else drive when we go out to the bar. So instead of going and get my license back right away, I dragged my feet. And then they changed the law in Illinois, where if you're a repeat offender, that you have to have the blow and go for 5 years. And so, me being intelligent, I was well, I called my lawyer up, and I'm how do I get around this blow and go so I can go wherever I want and do whatever I want? And he was you just start your own company, and then you can fill out your own permit. And so then, I was wait, what am I good at, What can I build a company around and be successful and my own boss, and I can take afternoon naps,
Right.
So I was dating my yoga teacher at the time, because I was doing all these things. I was trying meditation, and I was trying to slow down the shit that was going on in my brain. And she's well, you make beef jerky all the time, why don't you just make a company around that? And I'm all right. So then I it's really easy to apply for a business license, and you literally have I had no plan, and I just made it. And then I got a mentor after the fact, and I was hey, what do I do? And he's well, we need to come up with a business plan. And I was I already got my company name, I was all about balls deep. Because 15 years ago when we were fishing,
Balls deep is a good name.
15 years ago when we were fishing every weekend and drinking whiskey, me and my buddy, I was like, man, if I like have these epiphanies, like drunk epiphanies, or you're hungover and you're like, this is a great idea. And I was like, if I ever come up with a company, I'm just gonna name it Balls Deep, and then we'll have Balls Deep outdoors. And that was the idea, is that I build a company and then it gets successful, and then like I can go fish all the time. And let me tell you, when you start a company, there is no time to do anything you want to do.
No, there's not a whole lot. No.
And like I struggle with boundaries and all kinds of things, so I like answer my phone. Like you call me at 10 o'clock at night, call a business number at 10 o'clock at night, and I'll probably answer. So. But yeah, I started the business, and then it was just one impulsive decision after the other. I was like, all right, well, you know, I need to like get some equipment and find a space to like make it and all this stuff. And then I was like, well, I could probably start this with like 20 grand. And then once it started going over costs of equipment,
we were talking about your journey through jerky.
Yeah, jerky, yeah. I'm all over the place. But, yeah. So then my business mentor was like, hey, you should just find a co-packer. And basically what a co-packer does is they take your recipes and then they make the product in their already, like, facility. Because, like, when I started pricing equipment and, like, a space and, like, to get USDA certified, and USDA certification was, like, the biggest thing. Because we know how fast the government works. So it was like 6 months to a year just to get certified by the USDA. And I was like, so I'm going to buy like $150,000 in equipment. And then I'm going to wait for the USDA for like 6 months before I can even turn revenue.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
That's
yeah.
a problem.
So I found my like first co-packer, and he was like an hour and a half away. And I would literally drive down there, and I would pick up like a $750 batch of beef jerky. And then I would come back up here and I would sell it like in a weekend. And then I would just repeat the cycle over and over again. And like I didn't do a lot of research because I didn't know what I was doing. But I was just like, well, I'm military, so I'll just adapt to any situation.
Right.
So I'm good, you know. There's my business plan right there. Encounter a problem, solve it. Done. Good. And so I started with them, and it was like one just expensive decision after the next. They weren't even supposed to be making beef jerky. Like, it was so shady. And like, so like we were making beef jerky or whatever, and I'm thankful that nothing ever happened and I never had to have a recall. But it was a really big learning experience. It was like, all right, well, I need to just spend the money. So I went from like 2019 is probably when I started this, and I went from buying a $750 batch of beef jerky, and what, like 2 months ago, I think I spent $17,000 on a batch of beef jerky.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
You've been increasing. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, and then I just built a website last month by a guy. Websites are ridiculous. I priced websites for probably like 3 months, and I couldn't find anybody cheaper than like $7,000.
right.
And I was like, I'm not paying $7,000 for a website. Originally, with my website, it was just a Wix, and then when I started selling product on the internet, Wix is just, it's not.
Yeah, some of them are not really friendly.
It's not friendly. Yeah. I mean, they pitch it and they have a big like marketing campaign, but when you get down to the brass tacks and you start filling out like the shipping information, and my products are kind of diverse, where I have the beef jerky and then I sell the Bluetooth speakers too. So like building those separate shipping profiles for that one thing, it was like you couldn't do it. So then I was running into all kinds of issues where
Really?
like I was like having to pay like an exorbitant amount to sell the. Like, the way that I had it set up was so jacked up. But there was no good way to do it. So it was like, I had to have like 50 products in my store for just the beef jerky to get the shipping to work out. So I'd have like one package of beef jerky, or you could buy 3 packages of beef jerky, or you could buy 10 packages of beef jerky. And then with 3 different flavors, there's like, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you only
It was
right.
It was chaos.
Have you gotten into the Amazon marketplace yet, or no?
I have not. I don't know. I'm into like this whole learn as a go thing. So like originally I was just like kind of against Amazon, because when I first looked at it like a year ago, it was like to do Amazon fulfillment, they wanted like a 40% margin,
Right. Yeah.
which is crazy.
They
But
start off with what? Whenever you first start, they start off with a 10% margin.
so I don't know.
I don't know. Brian knows that information. Because we do the Amazon fulfillment, and it's all right. I mean, we sell stuff on there, but They do take a nice little chunk.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how Bayo's.
I've got a love-hate relationship with Amazon. So, but
Yeah, so do I.
I love to use them. I hate working for the post office and working against them. So I mean, it's a love-hate thing.
Well, they still have to go through the post office.
They do. They for a lot of their stuff. I don't know. I'm tired of seeing their vans on 38 every day. Have you seen those? Since they opened.
No,
up
I work all the time. I can't see anything.
They opened up the fulfillment center over here in West Chicago.
Oh, they did?
Like right over 38 in West Chicago.
Oh, is that that
And
building on the right-hand
so,
side?
Yeah. So everything, like every morning, I see this line of Amazon vans coming out. I'm like, all right, now you're just ruining my drive. Like, so before it was my bank account. Now it's my drive. This is a problem.
So where can they find your beef jerky?
So right now you can find my beef jerky if you go to my website. It's charliemikes.com. You can order it direct from there. I'm also in. Let's see.
You can also get it at Gun Barrel.
You can also get it at Gun Barrel. I'm in Ace Hardware's in Oswego and Yorkville. I'm in Garage Band Brewing in Plainfield, the American Legion in Plainfield. I'm in Crossroads Armory in Indiana. I'm in another. I'd have to look it all up. I'm in like. It's
look on
very all my where you can get my beef jerky. There is an event or a vendor map on my website.
Yeah, and you also do a lot of the gun shows and flea markets.
Yeah, and for a while there, I was gone every weekend, just trying to do gun shows or any kind of event that I could go and sell beef jerky and
get yourself promoted.
Yeah, just do anything to basically.
Somebody just commented Ace Hardware.
Yeah. Basically, I was doing anything where I could get my name out there and sell my product because that's the biggest thing. I can talk about my product all day long, but until you taste my beef jerky and realize how quality it is, because that was one of the biggest proponents of me making a beef jerky company. For like 20 years, I made it in my kitchen, and I would ship it to like buddies and everything. And like, oh my god, this is so good! And for years, they would just tell me like I need to go commercial, and it's a pain in the ass. But
yeah. Well, you know, you got you can do it at the Geneva Ace Hardware. They're pretty friendly over there.
yeah, it's just
Geneva Ace Hardware is awesome.
Yeah.
it's trying to find all that in this day, or like the time to go to all these different places.
Yeah.
And like I try to call like 2 corporate places a day, but that's letting me nowhere because they won't even give me the time of day because I don't really.
Right.
I'm not in enough places or enough major places to be like, hey, like
You're
here's
not even big enough to.
Yeah, I'm like a
Well,
peon compared to like a CEO is just like, oh yeah, you know, even if my message is great, which it is, that, you know.
So what charities?
I support the Gallant Few, and they're out of Texas, and I found them through my networking, and they've been awesome to me. It's a bunch of Army Rangers, so they've really helped me out through the years. I've been going down to Vet Expo, which is in October or November. But it's like a huge transition thing, and they bring in all these people, and it's like one of those. It's like a reset for me every year. I just go there, and then I network with all these awesome guys, and then I gain a little bit like more gratitude and understanding of like continuing the mission, which is what Charlie Mikes means.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to. Oh, it's Sam, Ace Hardware.
Oh,
No, I'm there. Anybody have any questions for him? Want to know something? Just feel free to put in the comment.
Yes.
Either business name again is Charlie Mikes, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I should pull up the feed on Facebook. Huh?
It should still be going on your feed, I think.
It is.
So,
Yeah.
thanks for that question, Kevin. His business name is Charlie Mikes. Check him out. Great beef jerky. Really good stuff. Pepper.
You'll love his meat in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and for a while there, I was building 2 brands simultaneously. So like, when I first started the company, I was all underneath balls deep because I think it's funny, and I like if you know me like on a personal level, I always joke around all the time because I think through all the trauma and stuff I have pretty dark humor, so I try and make a joke out of everything, which isn't very good for being in a relationship, but.
But Sam understands.
Yeah, it's fun to like play around. There's a time to play around, and there's a time to
be serious.
Be serious, and I try to be as serious as least as possible
Yeah.
because life's too short to.
Well, it's just like when we're here, you know, we have people come in and joke around a little bit, and
Right.
you can't really take a joke.
Stuff them.
Yeah, so I
You're gonna
started,
have a rough time.
Yeah.
I started with Balls Deep, and I was really stubborn about that name, and everybody was like, "You need to come up with a more like politically correct name." And I struggle with that too because war isn't very politically correct, and like so that was like a big part of my life for a while. And now I come
You
back.
say, hold on 1 second, I need to reload, and
Yeah, and then I come back here, and it's like, you know, people get offended by like the smallest things, and it's just like, man, like just let that shit go. So I started out with Balls Deep, and then I had always known that I needed to come up with a second company name, but I don't consider myself very creative, so it takes me a long time to come to a realization. And then it just dawned on me one day, like, oh, you should make it Charlie Mike's, because Charlie Mike's means continue the mission, and it'll be really easy to adopt mission statements and everything else
It's actually
with that.
Yeah.
You know, so
Makes-
so it was just like, it takes, a lot of things take time, and I came to that realization, and then I was simultaneously, like, doing two brands. So, like, one gun show I'd be Balls Deep at, and I'd do, like, a market survey to see if I sold more product under Balls Deep, and then, like, the next one I'd be Charlie Mike's. And as one man running one company isn't enough. Like, there's not enough time in a day to do all the hats that I wear to do one company. So, like, I was doing two companies at the same time. So I was, like, being half-assed at two companies. So, for the time being, most of my product will be underneath Charlie Mike's, just because I feel like when I go to an event and I'm Balls Deep and somebody doesn't align with that and they have a gun store or whatever they have, they're not going to probably put Balls Deep in their store. I have like 2 vendors that sell Balls Deep beef jerky, and all the rest of them are Charlie Mike's.
Yeah.
So it's like Charlie Mike's, or Balls Deep has turned into more of a novelty brand, and I'm just trying to push Charlie Mike's as much as possible. That's why there isn't a website for Balls Deep, and there is for Charlie Mike's.
It makes sense.
Because,
I mean,
yeah.
I like the packaging on it, how you got Charlie Mike, and
Right.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, that's come a long way, because,
Yeah.
you know, 2 years ago it was just a white label with a bunch of shit.
I mean, that's what happened with our coffee too. Ours started off as a white label, turned an
It
American
looked
flag.
like this.
Well, that's a specialty, so
That's
we
a
just kind of,
specialty,
you know,
yeah.
that's a specialty.
It's once in a
so-
while.
Yeah.
But I remember whenever it was just this.
Well, we had the white
Yeah.
label, and then we went to the American flag, and now we've gone to
Blue
the other,
bags.
you know, the other way. You know, it says "damn good coffee, damn good cause," but you know, now it's trying to keep up with getting the labels made, because now
Right.
we have them made by another company. You know, it's not. We were making all
Printing
these-
them out.
printing them
like
out,
you
right?
said,
We're
slap
saving
them
money,
on, yeah.
right? And then we started making a little money and could spend a little money, and you know, so slowly growing. I mean, this year we've outdid last year, and surprisingly, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's the goal. Is
Yeah.
to always outdo yourself from the previous
Yeah,
year.
and you
it
know,
takes a lot of time, and then market research. You got to find your demographic
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going to sell to, and I think I'm still trying to figure that out, because I've done all kinds of farmers markets and everything else, and it's like,
I think you're in the right spot for
Yeah.
for now. Like,
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to be said right now with everything going on with local and veteran.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
you know, people want to support veterans and they want to support local right now. So I think right now that's the best place to
Yeah,
be.
because the more, you know, you got a couple of Ace Hardwares under your belt, get a couple more. Don't talk corporate, just, you know, you have to go visit those, the ones, or call them up. The one in Geneva, Tracy, who runs that one, or the manager there, she's really good, you know, supporting veterans. So it just takes some time, and, you know, one day you'll be at Cabela's or one of those big ones.
Bass Pro, yeah.
Bass
I mean,
Pro.
it would be nice.
It just takes time, you know. Nobody goes there, you know, balls deep on the very first year.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, not all men
I like
are
what you
created
did.
equal, you know.
I know. Sal and I are far from each other.
Yeah, it's finding those clients and basically giving them my product, because I think, you know, you go to a gas station and you spend like $10 on a bag of beef jerky, and you're like, all right, well, I don't really want to throw this out because it was $10, but
You
I don't really want to eat it.
You get a $10 bag of beef jerky for three pieces and a bunch of crumbs.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's like going to the
Yeah.
gas station, getting coffee there, and you're like, oh man, it's horrible, but I need to drink it because I want something
Right.
to stay up.
Right.
You know, I can't really, you know, I'm on the road. I really can't bring my own coffee there and use their machine to make
Maybe
it.
that's what she should come out with. It's
What?
like a coffee maker that you plug into the cigarette outlet that's safe to make
While you're driving.
While you're driving. I mean, you're not allowed to text and drive anymore. We have to fill that void
So
with
coffee
something
and
else.
drive?
So make coffee and drive.
I mean, a lot, like my truck has a 110 in it, so I could just.
There you go.
Coffee.
Yeah.
I don't know.
you know what? I tried using 110 in mine, and I still haven't figured out how to really use it.
Right. Did you flip the on switch?
Yeah, but it wouldn't support one of the grinders we had.
I'm sure it's not pushing enough amperage.
Yeah, I don't think
You gotta
so either.
watch that. Because, like, I tried to run a Sawzall off my old truck off
Yeah.
an inverter, and it was like, the headlights got real dim and everything
Yeah, you
else.
gotta get a capacitor and bigger.
Yeah.
Running a 2 amp power tool off of a 12-volt battery just probably isn't.
We can fix that for you.
Yeah.
What do you have behind you?
Oh, this is just. I run into all kinds of crazy stuff doing what I do.
This is
So-
live.
No,
Damn.
this is inner, but it's just an AT4. I have like a soft place in my heart for things that are cool. That's why I have a warehouse full of shit. But this is like just something I run into these every now and then. So I just.
I wish I had that problem.
Yeah, I know.
Warehouse full of shit. I thought it would be filled.
Well, I mean,
I-
the warehouse is for the business. Let's get that straight. I mean, it's full of ammo cans right now, but I do have like a little small shelf in there where I.
When can we expect a jerky coffee or coffee jerky? Brian, Butters, BJ, whatever you want to go by today. That'll never happen.
Yeah, beef jerky coffee doesn't sound too pleasant.
And yes, I threw that forbidden nickname in there for you, Brian.
Yeah, I don't even know. Have you ever ate beef jerky and chased it with coffee? It just.
It's not very good.
Yeah, it's not the best complement of flavors.
And in the basement, and the garage.
Hey,
Sam is calling you out.
it happens. I mean, all I know how
Gotta have
to
stuff.
all I know how to do is hustle. So I'll buy anything that I can make
Surprised.
$1 on.
Surprised I haven't gotten a comment back from Brad. You know?
So I've diversified, especially with this pandemic, because
In an office.
Yeah. most of my, like, for a while I couldn't get beef jerky because the beef market was all screwed up with COVID. And then, like, even now with all the shutdowns, even in Illinois, I mean, none of the breweries that I'm in are open for business inside because of the lockdown. So, you know, I spend $10,000 on ammo cans a month, and then I sell those. I don't really see a problem here.
And you will put beef jerky in an ammo can.
Yeah, so there is a sample bundle on my website. You get 3 packages, all 3 flavors of my beef jerky inside of a 50 caliber ammo can.
Would it be cheaper on a 30?
It would, but I only have like 30. I'm down to like 30 50 cal cans.
Oh, really?
After what I brought you, and then I got sell a bunch of stuff tomorrow.
No.
Damn.
So I got 28 50 cal cans left to my name.
No, you need to get out there and hustle again.
Yeah, you gotta get those.
Yeah, I mean,
Those up.
the idea is that I was gonna hustle all the ammo cans, and that's like I have no control on the supply of that.
Right.
So it's like I sell them while I have them, and then when they're gone, they're gone. And then the beef jerky is a consumable product, and the more people that eat that will be the more repeat business that I'll get from that, and I'll be able to transition. I think a lot of us do. I mean, like Bobby was on here last week, and he was talking about how hard it is to get an SBA loan or any of that. So when I started my company, I didn't really. I looked into all kinds of loans, but they won't give me the time of day because I had no revenue. So it was like I was applying for all these things, and they were just like, "Who are you again?" So it's like I had to build my own wealth to support the things that I wanted to do, just to get into that. I use just straight beef for my jerky right now. It's extremely expensive to make jerky already, and then when you start diversifying with animals, it just gets more expensive. Because it's not like I can just go out to the field and just start slaying deer.
That'd be sweet though if you could.
Because the USDA won't allow you to use to harvest animal and sell it commercially. So the added cost of like buying farmer-raised deer and elk and stuff is just astronomical.
And bison. And
Yeah, and so at this point,
alligator.
I'm just building a customer base with the amazing product I already own or use.
But I mean, down the road, you get bigger and bigger. You can
Yeah.
always expand more.
There's all kinds of
Yeah.
animals you can make beef jerky out of. But it's like another thing. I offer a 3.25 ounce bag for $6.99, which is pretty, you know,
It's better than
it's very
Jack
reasonable as far as cost goes. Because you go like Jack Link's and it's like rubber and whatever, and it's like $5 a package. Or you go like on the opposite end of the spectrum, which is like small batch beef jerky, and it's like $12 for a quarter pound, which is crazy. And I fall somewhere in there because I'm kind of like a small batch guy, and I'm kind of like,
You're competitive.
yeah, so I'm competitive in the price market, but I think that my beef jerky just blows all the other competitors out of the water.
Mhm.
I mean, taste it for yourself and let me know.
Yeah. Matt, what's that cup you have there?
this is just a Marine Corps veteran cup. I brought my own today instead of having to use one of the local watering hole cups.
This guy brings a Yeti here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do have all of the Gun Barrel Coffee mugs at home.
I would
You
say
don't have the new Gun Barrel Coffee mug.
I might not, but I do have this one.
It is.
This one makes it like keeps the heat so hot you can't drink your coffee for 4 hours.
you gotta put an ice cube in it.
We got the new mug.
I had
So
that.
our old one only had it on one side.
Oh, okay. That's
This one has the double.
Yeah, I ship
Okay.
nationwide, Brian.
And we got rid of the white one, so we're not doing the white ones. We're just doing these gray ones now.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say I never drink out of a ceramic cup. I've tried not to, but Sam will throw me under the bus because she saw me using a ceramic cup,
Oh my
cup
gosh.
the other day with the espresso maker because I couldn't figure out how to fit a Yeti in there. But I didn't want her to come home to like a bunch of 2x4s on the counter. There's already like enough. I already take over enough space in that house with all this different products that I sell.
Who does most of the cooking?
I haven't been doing a lot of cooking lately, and she is like on a really strict meal plan, so she orders like all these crazy meals.
Like Hello Fresh and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what they are. I don't even look. So I used to sous vide and do all kinds of crazy cooking. And
Yeah, I remember you used to do that.
I haven't been doing. I think there's a lot of shit going on with just life, and I get so busy, and I don't take enough time for myself during the day. So it's like I've been eating a lot of sandwiches.
Sandwiches?
Yeah,
There you
because
go.
it's like takes me like 2 minutes to make a sandwich, and then I'm out the door.
Right.
What kind of meat do you like on your sandwich?
Ham or roast beef, or
A little mayo, tomato, lettuce?
I don't go crazy like that.
What?
I just get some bread and some mustard.
Ham, habanero cheese.
I there's like I really like ghost peppers and a lot of hot stuff,
Ooh, yeah, you that one.
and there was some really good cheese that I haven't ordered off Amazon, but it had ghost pepper in it. Because when I was lost and I didn't know what direction to take my life, I walked 780 miles on the Appalachian Trail to try and find some identity of myself again. And I stopped at a place in North Carolina off the trail because I was walking so many miles on the trail. I was walking like 25 or like 30 miles a day because I didn't know what to do with myself. I couldn't like sit still. I would like get to like some lookout and I'd be like, oh, this is cool. And I like sit there for like 2 minutes. I'm like, all right, time to keep walking to Maine. And then it's not like I didn't understand it. I would like get on the trail and I like didn't enjoy it. I was just like rushing to a destination, and that's how my transition was. It was like I got out and I was just rushing to like the next phase of my life.
So you really didn't smell the road?
Yeah, I never even understood that. Yeah.
Like,
It's like the thing from National Lampoon Vacation. Oh, there's the Grand Canyon, kids. Let's go.
that's exactly how I am too. Like, hey guys, cool. Like, we saw the White House. Let's move on. Like, so.
But
There's a
there,
monument. Okay, let's go. This one.
Next monument.
there was a bar and restaurant in North Carolina somewhere. It was called the Wooden Pickle, and they had a hamburger that had ghost pepper cheese on it. And I think I stayed in that town for like 3 days just to eat that. I had it for like, they were only open for lunch and dinner. So I would go there twice a day and eat a ghost pepper hamburger.
There you go.
And it was delicious.
Have you tried to copy it?
I can't find, it's really expensive to order cheese. And there's not a lot of places that make ghost pepper cheese because it's such a hot pepper, and people don't want to mess with it because they have to wear goggles or whatever. And it's not even that hot of a pepper because I make all kinds of stuff that's way.
That would be a good beef jerky. Is ghost pepper jerky.
Yeah, the problem with like that is like so like there's so many pieces in the pipeline, so like I can't mix spices in my kitchen and then ship them to my co-packer and have them make it. So I have like a spice blender that does that.
Okay.
And a lot of spice blenders won't touch really hot peppers because if they have a spill in their warehouse, it's like a really expensive thing because it's like hazmat.
Okay.
Because with like the really hot peppers, they make your eyes water.
Oh yeah.
All that kind of stuff. I mean, I made ghost pepper jalapenos I made Carolina Reaper
Oh, that's good.
sliced jalapenos last time I pickled, and it was like I was fine. Like
Right.
my eyes weren't watering or anything, but like other people would come in the kitchen and they'd be like, "Holy shit, what are you doing in here?" You know. So it's kind of that
CS gas.
It's kind of like
Right.
that same thing. It's like a lot of the.
Have you thought about CS gas flavored?
I
Jerky.
thought of. I'm thinking about.
I would do it.
I'm thinking about making a limited run like label where it's crayon flavored, just like as
for
little,
Marines?
Yeah, for
For us?
Marines because
We're-
it would be
yeah.
awesome. You know, we have that inner.
Can you make the purple, like beef jerky purple? That's my favorite flavor. Is the purple crayon.
Yeah, I don't know how in depth we can get with making the beef jerky, but I think as just like a little funny thing to do that to make crayon flavored, because like even at the gun show I have like a little cup and I put crayons in there, so like when I see somebody with a Marine hat on, I'm like, I got beef jerky and I got crayons.
Do you think more of the younger generation Marines understand that more than the Vietnam era?
Oh,
Oh,
100%.
without a doubt. I mean,
100%. It's definitely a newer thing. I started hearing it probably I want to say it was probably 2008, 2009. I had a sergeant in New Orleans, Sergeant Ankar, and he'd be like, "You like to eat crayons? I like to eat crayons too." Like, and it was like, but he only said it like whenever you fucked up. He was like, "We can make this worse." Like, and that's how I took it. But then over the years, it's gradually, I mean, it's all over the place now. It's everywhere, and it's definitely become like the new devil dog and like hoorah and stuff like that. I mean, even last night at work, I had a guy, non-vet, come up to me, and we're the post office. We're filled with veterans. Like we're the leading hirer of veterans nationwide.
Right.
So I had a non-vet come up to me, and he's like, "I know how you Marines do with your math," and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! You're not allowed to make that comment because 1, you're not a Marine. 2, you're not a vet. You have to be part of the 1% to make fun of the vet, all right?"
Yeah.
And all the other veterans turn around and be like, "Yeah, so stop that shit."
Just because you saw it on Facebook
you're not allowed
doesn't make you a
Yeah,
veteran.
you have to be in the brotherhood to make digs.
Yeah.
Like I actually like it because like
Yes, Jess Cran, I love to eat the crayons that we color with. Yes, 100%. Purple, like I said, is my favorite. It's my favorite flavor.
I thought most Marines like clear.
No,
they don't like clear.
No, we're not on the clear.
Just purple, reds, yellows.
She said, "You want to know more about it?" Well, the rose art ones are really waxy. They're not as textured as Crayola. So if you really want to make a Marine happy, don't go to the dollar store and buy crayons. You got to go to Walmart for sure. Has the best
The
run.
original ones.
They have the original, the best
Right.
run on the crayons. The texture's perfect. Just, crunches just right. So yeah.
yeah, it's like one of those things you gotta own it. When someone starts making fun of you, you're just like, yeah, where they at? Let me eat them, put them in my mouth.
Right.
And you just start chopping on them because like into service is really cutthroat. So like when somebody starts making fun of you, like if you start getting offended or show emotion, like
They're just gonna
keep
hit it hard.
They're just gonna keep going.
And hit it 100%
So
harder.
you know, it's pretty funny because I have like people that are non-veterans and they try to make fun of me, and I just like, yeah, like, you know. So when they call me gay or something, I'm like, yeah, I suck all the cocks. Or, you know.
Right, like it's like, listen, we don't get offended by this. I had a shower with 95 guys. All right, I've seen everything. I've seen every shape, size, color. It doesn't matter.
The funniest part was when basic training, we had Puerto Ricans,
Oh yeah.
and God love them. They were just hilarious. But they were all in the shower, naked around their little area, because everybody kind of hung out with their own.
Yeah.
And these guys were just playing guitar, singing,
Yeah.
and like ding 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 ding. I'm like, they're using their dicks as a fucking guitar.
we didn't have that problem.
Like, okay,
we
like,
didn't have that
time to get out of the shower, guys.
And they're really good at volleyball.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Puerto Ricans are really good at volleyball. I had a platoon sergeant that was Puerto Rican. He's like, dude, you got to play volleyball with us. You're like 6'6", and I'm like, well, I'm waiting. I can't be going. You know?
It doesn't matter that I'm 6'6" and I can't clear 2 inches in the air.
But we had like 2 or 3 Puerto Ricans in our platoon, and they were like all about volleyball. And I'm like, this is like the weirdest thing. I guess it's really nice in Puerto Rico. I would play volleyball down there too.
You went down to Puerto Rico.
I did. I went on a veteran trip down to Puerto Rico, but all that stuff that was through the vet center. I can't talk positive enough about your local vet center. So if you're a veteran and you're struggling or you need any kind of assistance or
I love the vet center.
whatever you need, you should be going to your local vet center because they have so many resources in it.
Yeah.
And it's outside of the Veterans Administration, so they're all their own like government entity. So like when I need to kick in a door at the VA because they're not treating me right, I just go to the vet center, and I've gotten really good at kicking in doors at the VA, which is unfortunate. But
Listen, I go through all my healthcare through the VA, and I've had one really terrible experience in the VA with an elective vasectomy, so it was not good. But I love the vet center. I love the guys over at our
Chopped an
VA.
inch too much.
Dude, I couldn't afford to lose another inch. No, they left a piece of anatomy sewed up on the outside of my body that belonged inside. So I had to go back a second time and get it redone, and it was not good.
how's it going, Frank?
Ooh,
So,
that's
hi, Mike. Mike's not here.
no. This is
am.
Mike.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
you
Mike.
are Mike. Yeah, how about that?
You must know Frank.
I don't know stuff.
Let me see. I gotta check this.
But yeah, no, it was but the VAC, the guys over at the VAC, your local county VAC, they're phenomenal. Whenever you need to kick indoors too. I go to the vet center every 2 years to get my hunting and fishing license renewed.
You can do it there.
Yeah, so they get it for free. If you are 70% or above through the VA, you get a free hunting and fishing license in the state of Illinois.
Oh, there's something I didn't know.
So
And
I
you
go.
also,
yeah.
there's also like a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't
There's
even know.
more
I mean,
than just that.
the Veterans Administration, they give you this white booklet, and it's like 2 inches. It's like an inch thick, and it's like, here's all your benefits. Have fun with
Right.
this. And it's
Right.
like the font is like literally like it should be like a phone book size because the font inside is like this big,
Right. Even
and you're like reading through here, and you're like, man,
Oh shit! Sorry.
it's
man.
like
if I gotta
reading
put glasses on.
It's
man.
reading a dictionary, and who reads a dictionary?
even with Champs VA for my wife and my kids' health care and stuff like that, it's like it's there. They have health care, but nobody knows how it works. It's like, how do you get this to work? So the vet center and the VAC, they're 100% helpful in helping explain everything to the provider and getting everything covered and everything. Phenomenal.
If I have any problems, like VOC, vet center, even Matt we had on last week or 2 weeks ago, was a nurse at the VA.
Yeah.
Call him up, ask him some questions, and help me guide my way through.
Yeah, eventually, if I get really, really successful, I want to make a watchdog unit that is all veterans that they just kick indoors at the VA because for like decades, like I feel really bad for the Vietnam guys because for decades they've just been getting shit on by the VA, and it's like there are some very good people at the VA, but then there's also some. It's like anywhere. There's bad apples anywhere, and I keep running into the bad apples at the VA, and then I put them in a corner that they didn't know existed, and that's just through going through shitty experience after shitty experience. So it would be nice to hold the VA accountable for some of the things that they do because it's just a rampant. It's kind of like the post office.
Right.
It's just rampant.
Post office is a great service.
What are you talking about?
It's just rampant government spending that isn't doing anything to help out the people that they're supposed to be helping out.
All right, who's got a question? Who's got a thing so we can get one of our viewers? They can win a sample and a bag of coffee. So, need a good question for somebody to answer. A good trivia. Anything got trivia?
Oh, jeez.
Come on, this is.
I think the last time I came up with a postal question. I don't want to do
Yeah.
it again.
You don't want to go postal. So, Mike's going to come up with a question here. If you answer it, you get to choose. Well, you don't get to choose. You get to choose Space Force. And one of 3 bags of blackened pepper, teriyaki.
Speaking of Space Force, how cool would it be to be in Space Force right now? Like
Now you'd be a guardian.
Like you'd be, like
That's what they call them. They're called guardians.
right. But it's like they're so small, so new. They've only had like 2 boot camp cycles. There's got to be
You could become a brigadier general. In no
There's
time.
got to be no rules. Yeah,
Sadly,
like there's got to be like 0.
So, what
rules.
article does this Article 15 fall under?
Yeah,
In trouble.
I mean, we can do this one.
All right, go ahead, tell them.
What year did the Army Corps of Engineers become the Army Corps of Engineers? You're going to have to look that one up, because I had to look it up.
And he's an engineer. So,
I was going for.
So, anybody, if the question is, what year was the Army Corps of Engineers a permanent branch? Or what year did it become when did it become a permanent branch?
get the Space Force.
Space Force and 3 bags of beef jerky.
Samantha
One of the
she
3.
can get a mug.
Yeah. So you're saying you want me to bring you home a mug? That's what you're
A
saying.
gray mug or a brass mug?
Probably a gray
Gray.
mug.
Because she wants you to drink out of it?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I have like these little Yeti cups, and I bought 2 of them, and they're really nice mugs. But every time I go to make a coffee, they're all in the dishwasher.
So you're saying you really need to start doing dishes?
I can't.
I'm the only one who uses coffee in the house. But I do have an extensive collection.
No,
1802.
you can't.
You can't win.
You can't win. You know the person.
Yeah, you could just go in the basement and grab like a package of beef jerky. Or like 4,000.
See, if I owned a beef jerky company, I probably wouldn't have any food in the house. I just see me.
Well, that's like the thing, because I know what the cost is. So I'm just like,
And yes, gray mug.
you can't answer. You're not part of the cool club.
Yeah, you're one. Oh, you know what? They can come out with the Space Marines.
See if they had
Yeah, that's
space.
fine.
They'll never do that
Why not?
because
All right, just one.
Yep.
because they don't want the first encounter with
Just
aliens.
send us a DM with your address, and we'll send you one of the. You want to give all 3 or just
Yeah,
one?
that's fine.
Okay, you get all 3. You are the winner. So.
It is the Christmas season, so
Yeah, so he's
the
actually willing to
giving
give. So you get the bag of Space Force,
and-
the original beef jerky, the teriyaki beef jerky,
and
the black pepper beef jerky. You ever thought about salt and vinegar beef jerky?
Dude, my son would alright, so Oliver loves beef jerky.
Yeah.
Like his
It's a good idea, isn't it?
and
I mean, the next flavor is a garlic one. And
Oh,
then
okay.
I want to do a really hot one, but I
So-
got to figure that out.
yeah, so like salt and vinegar beef jerky, he would be.
Oh, and when it comes to chips or
I can't think of anything worse for your stomach than salt and vinegar beef
Oh.
jerky.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'll drink vinegar like it's going out of style. It's probably the
Drink
Italian.
vinegar,
Yeah,
like just straight, like
I'll drink it
cider or
straight.
like
Yeah,
white
apple
vinegar?
cider. Not so much, but like red wine and apple cider, I'll drink that straight or mix it with some water. It really does refresh you.
Fucking
It
weirdo.
does.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
You know why there'll never be a Space Marines?
Who?
There'll never ever be Space Marines.
Because there's not enough space hookers.
No, because they don't want our first encounter with alien life form.
With a bunch of space
With a
marines.
bunch of Space Marines.
What'd you do
Who
with that?
will find a way to do dirty things to it.
So what's this hole for?
What'd you guys do with that alien? You guys went, oh, we drew a dick. And, all right,
Right.
just dump it in the ocean.
Countless hours on going drawing dicks. It's great. it's a great pastime of mine.
And we'll have that to you. Just we'll send it out to you Monday.
Yep. I have her address.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, she's ordered beef jerky for me before.
Oh, okay, that's good. Well, you can still DM him because
And she said she's your cousin.
yeah,
She is one of my cousins.
that's your cousin.
Yeah. I can't help it that probably half the viewers are probably my relatives.
We got 2 over here. Core Spice.
Core Spice.
Looks like Core Spice. And,
Yep. Core Spice. He's another Marine.
Yeah.
He does,
Semper Fi.
Yeah.
Go Core Spice.
It is good. Thank you. So you can find my product on www.charliemikes.com. Also, you can find local vendors because I'm not Amazon and shipping isn't free. So locally is the best place to find it. You'll also find out what events I'm doing in the future, which currently is probably only the King County Gun Show in January because Illinois is pretty shut down, and so is Indiana. And I've tried to call events up in Wisconsin, but a lot of those Wisconsin events that are over 200 tables, the concession stand owns all the rights, so I can't sell beef jerky there anyway.
We couldn't even do coffee there either.
Yeah, so that's a big turn away.
Yeah, so...
and then the discount code that you can use on our website is CM2020, and that'll run till the end of the year. So
Could you
January
repeat that
1st,
again?
it's CM2020, and that'll run until January 1st, and that's 10% off any product in my store.
All right, and if you can see what's scrolling through there, you can still get Gun Barrel Coffee on our website. Come down. If you order it, you'll receive 10% off if you use GBC10. So, all right. Well, we're going to cut this off. So
there you go. Thank you, Jess.
And if you need any shipping, I don't have any cool codes or whatever. www.usps.com. Thanks.
Well, we provide shipping on our website.
Right.
So everybody have a good one. Be safe out there. Merry Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Happy New
Jewish.
Year.
All right.
Happy
Bah humbug.
Humbug. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So everybody, peace out. Thank you for joining us on Coffee and Bullshit 21. Right, and the next time we'll be on. It will be on 2021, January 2nd.
We can count high.
I can count high.
I have to take off my shoes and socks. Count.
And he still has to whip it out for that one.
For that. It's like half of one.
Half of one. All right. All right. Everybody, peace.
See ya.
Take it easy. All right, we're done.
All right. Now I can go get some dinner.
What? We still got to do it. Did you do the commercial yet?
No.
Oh, shit.
Hold on.
Do the commercial.
What are we gonna do?
I
I don't know. This is my coffee. This is my mug.
People are still on.
Oh, they are?
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Now we're just shitting talking, everybody.
How do I? They changed it. How do I turn it off?
Ooh, we got these.
Yeah, just